Get the recording going. Today's March 20th, and we're here talking with the local LBU group about IWDS 2.0 UAT testing. We're going to be looking at duplicate customer search and the customer and application listing changes today. And then Al, do we have any other agenda items before we move into the UAT testing?
I don't have any. No, thank you.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to share here. And so prior to this meeting, some of you have shared names of the folks on this call. If there's anyone else that needs access to the UAT testing documents or the UAT testing folder, you can email me. My name is Lynette, Tritz@siu.edu, or you can reach out to Olivia Miller at siu.edu, and we would be happy to hook your team up with access to test. So we sent some links out to a couple of documents. One is the release cycle, release 2 cycle 2 document. We sent out links for the issue reporting notebook, and then we sent you a link for the IWDS preview tenant, so that you can go in and get a first look of what the new IWDS looks like. I know we have some new faces and some folks that have tested before. So for folks that have been here before, I'm going to do a little bit of duplicative session here, talking about the document and walking through the document and what we're talking about with UAT testing, and then the issue, and then how to report issues before I go into the content for today. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to speak up or put it in the chat, and I'll be taking a look at both, and we can stop as you have questions to answer them. So we've done a first round of like the initial build, and we had some things in cycle 1. This release 2 is an add-on from some of the feedback that was given in the first phase for looking up customers and trying to prevent duplicate customer entries in the new IWDS. This is taking what we've learned so far. We got a lot of great feedback in the first round. We've gone back and made some changes, and we're really excited to show them to you. So that's a lot of what the testing items are for this week. So in the cycle 2, release 2 cycle 2 guide, gives you an overview of what the testing is. So right now, I want to warn you all, in our preview tenant, we do not have security around this. So I know we're testing, we're asking you to test customers and stuff like that, but we want the entry that you do in here to be like made up. We don't want any actual stuff or any PII being put in the system just yet. So we're testing more for functionality and that you can look it up. We're not looking to put like real live customer names or anything like that into the system. And the purpose of release 2 is twofold. We want to like get into the process of showing you guys more regularly the things that we're building, get acceptance from you guys that this will work moving forward as we move into the new IWDS, and to get validation that from a lot more folks than just our testing team that this does work, and we're not finding a lot of bugs or it's not working on a scale. And then we want to get you comfortable with seeing the new system and seeing it new and as we build it and get in here often so that you have a lot of familiarity when we move into the testing phase. So for this week's assignment, we usually give the assignment on today, a Thursday. We're looking for your feedback by March 27th for some of these items. It's a retest of the customer listing with the quick search and the full search, the application listing, quick search and full search, and then the new view, the create customer record, the duplicate customer search, and the customer preview. Things that we always do in here is provide you the link to our preview tenant and to the issue reporting notebook. We'll go over both of those here, and I'll show you in depth in person how those work, and then how we log our entries. So when we're logging the entries, we want to make sure that we're documenting as you're completing the UAT work. The first page the first page in the notepad is like an example issue reporting, so you can see what a good one looks like, and then you can and then in the release 2 section 2, I'll get this updated right here. Should be a 2. We'll have several pages for the different pieces, and you can put it in underneath that underneath the place for the part that you're testing. Be concise but detailed. Put your name there so that we can contact you if we need to. And then if you can put a screenshot. If not, make sure that you're documenting fully for so that we can understand and be able to process your feedback. So if you have any issues accessing it, these are the folks on the team. You feel free to reach out to us and we'll be able to assist. I think we went through this part of the expectations. So test thoroughly, be detailed, steps that if you document something, document like ways that we could reproduce what you did, and then tell us like how you would expect it versus what actually happened. And then just for transparency, from your feedback, we kind of categorize them into 3 ways. A bug is something didn't perform as expected, and like it needs to be fixed before we move forward. Next one are issues. The system is reporting to their like requirements, but like it's just not going to work. It doesn't work the way that we think it would. So like yeah, you can technically enter a customer, but it's very cumbersome, and here are 3 ways why. And then enhancements. If it works if it functions as expected, but there might be a way to make it better, we're looking for that kind of feedback too. And we would consider that an enhancement that we can make moving forward. A lot of what we're testing today are the issues and enhancements from last cycle. And finally, it's just some best practice. We want to think like we're the end user, who are the folks that would be entering in these records every day. Be specific, and then provide context. Explain why, like if this is good, but this would be better. Tell us why so that we can put ourselves in your shoes and understand how we can make those changes. Any questions on kind of the overview of what we're expecting in UAT testing? Before we move on, I want to give you a view of the workbook. So you can see when I open up the issue management workbook, you can see the different cycles. We're on cycle 2. You can see there's 2 pages here, customer and application listing, and then the duplicate customer search. And then we have some folks that have already put in some feedback. So just put the day, your name, what happened, and then any other information that you have. And then to see a good one, you can come to this recording example and you'll see this is the feedback that was put in. And then you can see in red, and you'll see some feedback. When we take a look at the issue, you'll see the feedback from us so that you can see that we are addressing what you're putting in, and then what are the future actions for those items. Any questions on documenting issues?
Lynette, do you still want us to put in what browser we're using, or
If you can, yes, especially if you can encounter issues.
okay.
So on the customer application field changes, we've made some changes from last time. When we talked, folks wanted the full search and the quick search available from the search menu, so we've added that kind of function. Another thing we've added was a nickname database. It shows what we've put in there in as part of the logic is a database of full names and common partial names, and wanted you to test that out. And then in the quick search, selecting the option will display a name field. So you can either put a full name or a partial name to perform a search. And its intent is to look for apply to both the first and last name fields and pull up a match for either of those fields. So if, like, you put Smith, you would get it in the quick search. You would get results that were both Smith for the first name and Smith for the last name. And then the search filter is also applied to the customer and the application tab. So customers, you would see everybody, even if they don't have an application. And then on the application tab, when you tab over, you should see the exact same search results, but for only folks that have an application in the system. And you can see that here. So I have some screenshots. So you put in the quick search, you hit the search button, you should see the list. And then when you flip over the tab, you should see just the ones where the number of applications equals 1 or more. And then in the full search, you'll have separate fields for first, middle initial, and last name. The first name field allows you to put a full or partial and searches only the first name column. Same with middle and last initial. And then the search filters should apply to both the customer and the application tabs. And then then you can see on the applications tab, you can tab between the quick search and the full search to display. Quick search just displays the one field for you to put the partial name in. And then the full search, you should see multiple fields show up, and then there are advanced filters and all that. And I'm going to walk into the system and show you this as well. Same thing here. You're gonna, on the application, it's just the same as what we did on the customer tab, but on the application field tab. And the next part is the duplicate customer record. So to prevent the creation of duplicate customer entries, there is a duplicate customer search before entering a new record. So we enhanced from the last time to include a middle initial tab that you can type in if you know that. So your first, last name, and date of birth is required before you search existing customers, but you also now have the ability to use a middle initial. And then in our first test, you had the last four SSN, email, address, phone number, and zip code as optional fields to perform your search. Same with the same here as the quick and full search. There it does look through that nickname database so that you can get Rob or Bob instead of Robert. You'll get all those partial responses as well. And so when you have a search, so like in this example, they put Jay Anderson, and you get the list of identified duplicates because it's looking on first, last name, and the date of birth. You now have the ability, you had the ability before to preview, but it opened in a modal. So on top of the search, we've created a new view so that you can see it on the side and have the ability to navigate to the record. So I'm excited to show that to you today. And so this is what it looks like now. It kind of moves your search over to the left, shows you the preview of the customer on the right-hand side. And then if it's the correct, and shows you other details on their customer record. And then you have the ability to go to that record if you want to. If not, you can continue. This was not, if you looked at it and this was not your person, you could click on the add customer and continue adding the customer. Any questions about the new thing so far? Perfect. I'm going to jump into the preview tenant and show you how this works.
Sorry, Lynette, just a quick
Sure.
question. And this is the next phase over the next week. This is what you'll be asking us and any additional, we as staff that we might be able to ask to also give their take on it, to test it. This is what we're going to be testing, right? This is kind of a review of what for new members joining of what we tested previously, kind of a review, and then the feedback that you guys got from our user testing a few months ago. You're describing the improvements and modifications, things that you were able to do based on that feedback. And then this is what we're going to be testing coming up, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah,
sure.
so this,
for any of my colleagues here and our staff that's not able to attend today, just so I make sure let them know when we ask them if they could be testers, just so I know how to guide them on that. Thank you so much.
yep. So some things so now that you see a full live version of it, you come into the preview tenant, you're going to show up here at this is a temporary home page. You don't need to click the login button. You're going to come over to customers, and this is where we're going to be testing today. So in the customer, you can see the search customers, and then now you have that toggle between what we had before was the quick search. Now we have this full search, and you can see the difference. So when you have a quick search, you just have the one search term, and we can type it in. So like we have, so like when you type in Olivia, we have 3 in the system, right? And so if you wanted to choose one of these, you sure can. If this is not the Olivia you're looking for, you could move to add a customer over here on the right hand side. And if this was not the person's name, then you can do a different search or go to the full search. And same thing refresh here. And so you can see like this is our nickname database in use. So I just typed Liv. It's showing me partial of her name. It's looking back to say, hey, Liv might be a nickname of Livia. You can go and test that. You can test that out. We've used a common data nickname database, and it does allow us in the future, if we do find more, that we can add them. So just wanted to keep that out for you. We do have ways that we can enhance some of the tools that we've implemented to make them better and customize them to the experience we're seeing as we move towards go live and put real customers in the system. Are customers assigned unique identifying numbers? Yes.
Hi,
So-
it's Julia from LWS 7. Yes, Omar, going to the new system, there will be unique identifiers, but there won't be called SIDs. It would just be unique identifier.
You can add a customer. I would just ask that we use test names and not real names. So don't dump your entire customer list into our test system just yet. Can you search by the identifier? Let's look. Omar, I believe so that you should be able to do that, but let me take that back and double check. I'm fairly certain that answer is yes. So under quick search, up here you can search by name. I will look on the unique identifier. You can also search by the date of birth, the last for the social program, if they're in adult dislocated worker youth, and a whole list of that encompasses all of our programs. And then eventually from an applicant standpoint, you'll be able to search by the status of the customer. There's also the enhanced search, advanced search. You can look by LWIA, email, phone number, zip, or workNet ID. And then an application date range if they have an application. When you go to the full search, you get all those same items. Plus, you can search just the middle, full and partial on just the first, full and partial on the middle initial, and full and partial on the last name. So if I do a test here, you can see how I have 2 Olivias with an application and one that does not. When I flip over to the application tab, I only will see the 2. And you can see that the view changes just a little bit. So you can see that on the application, you see their first, last name, their date of birth, their application date, and their status. And then you can highlight the career planner. And if you click, you should see that career planner's information on the application side. So let's pretend like I'm going to add a customer and show you the new features of the View Customer tab. So when you click on Add Customer, you can see that first name, last name, date of birth is required. And then you can also search on these other fields. So same thing, I'm going to use my Olivia test. I'm doing with search existing customers. This gives me the same things I have. It shows me that some of the information has a partial match, so it's looking for a partial on the name plus plus the combo of that plus the date of birth, showing me that I have similar names in the date of birth, i.e., any one of these three potentially. And then when I click on preview customer, this is the new view. So you can see on the left, on the right hand side, you can see the name that's in their, the items that they've entered in their customer profile so far. And you can determine, and you can see that their application summary. So you can really see, is this the person that I meant? If it is, you have the ability to just to search and go to the record and look at their full customer profile, including including the information we have entered for them as far as application and services and their profile information. Want to let you know as you look into some of these and some of our records, like I told you before, we're not pulling real customer data into it, and some of these features are not like fully put together. So you'll see some items as far as it relates to applications and the customer profile and maybe some other information in here. If it doesn't work all the way, we're aware. So you're more than welcome to record some things that you see, but we're using these sessions to show you things that we do have ready to test and that are pretty well functional for you. Also, it is a testing environment, and you may see some issues where it like doesn't work all the way. Feel free to record those too. Especially as it results to finding customers and looking at the profile and adding folks. That's the kind of stuff we need to make sure that we move forward to production with, and we're not going to have a whole lot of people having a lot of problems accessing the system. So I can see under here the names and all that kind of stuff, and I can go back to the customer list and go back in if that's not my person and then trying to enter them again. And so I can look up a different person. I can download this list, and I can add other features to this view to be able to see different things about them. Any questions on what we should be testing today?
Yeah. So we're going to have a lot of potentially new people that's coming on to help test. So for those of us that have been in the first part of this testing, a few months ago, we may have put in a customer that we can try and test this with, right? But the
Correct.
new people that are going to be coming on board, they won't know what's already in this testing database. So they would have to essentially enter a customer and then test against that customer, correct?
Yes. Or you can come back to the customer list and look up. We have about 50 folks in here. So you can to be able to see more than just 10, click on 50 and see all the different names we have here. You can order them by last name, first name. But yeah, you can do that or create new. It's fine.
Okay, so they can take like Robert Brown and say, okay, I'm going to try and see if it brings up everything for Robert Brown by putting in BR and R or Brown or Robert or misspelled with Bob or nickname with Bob or Bobby or even misspell the name at, ROERT and see if it brings up all those different possibilities of potential duplicate customers in the system.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other feedback or questions?
I guess I have one more.
Sure.
When you click on a person or search for a person or add a person, and it gives you possibilities, and you click on the additional more information stuff, or actually when it gives you the possibilities, it shows the career planner's name.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a possibility to have somehow somewhere record the staff member that actually created the customer? Like from the very beginning. Because like currently in in a lot of the offices, at least in ours, we have intake staff that creates the customer in IWDS currently. So
Mm-hmm.
if intake is going to be creating the customer record in IWDS 2.0, and then later it's going to be transferred over to a career planner, then the staff that it's assigned to changes in IWDS right now, and you can only
Mm-hmm.
have one person showing as the owner of that, right? And so, but we want to be, at least for us, we want to be able to track who created that customer, so that we can track who did it and why. You know what I'm saying? In case a
Okay.
problem arises. Is that possible?
But potentially, let me work back with Olivia on that one. We are implementing for other parts, a log to track changes that have happened
Okay.
with different records. Let me see if it can happen at the customer record.
Okay.
I think in
Then,
the current IWDS, and there's like service records and case notes, right? I see what you're saying, Paul. Yeah, where it says like it may not say who created, or it might just say like the last person who, like, record added by, and then or last edited by or something.
right.
So
Yes.
I think there's already existing some in the old system, and yeah, maybe in the new system they can do that for records too.
And then one last thing is when we create a customer, depending on the multiple grants, like the 1N grant, adult grant, dislocated worker grant, and youth grant, if they're going to be co-enrolled into multiple grants, in different offices, it may be the different grants are operated by different groups. So the youth program may have a complete youth team and career planner that deals with the youth, but then the adult dislocated and even trade are by a different group of people in the same organization, right? Currently in IWDS right now, when you create the customer and assign them to a grant, you can only have one career planner attached. But is there a possibility that you can put more career planners attached depending on the grant to that customer record?
Okay. You want the
Essentially,
ability to assign a customer to multiple career planners if needed.
right.
Okay. Let me take that feedback back.
Thank you.
So, question in the chat is only staff can create a customer's profile. For right now, yes. In future editions will have the customers to be able to enter in their own information. There will be at the beginning when you enter somebody's information. One of the first things it does is it goes and searches for if they have an existing Illinois WorkNet account. And it will connect to that in sync. If they don't have one, it will create an Illinois WorkNet account and email them the username and password to their own account so that you don't have to help them do that anymore. But we're working through those complexities as well. Any other questions on testing or any other items for today? In the chat, would the customer's information include assigned coach if that customer is in active training OJT? Yes, we've not built the assigned to part just yet, but you'll be able to see who's assigned to the customer. And then for this test, we may not be able to search by a unique identifier, give the option in the future. Yes, I just need to follow up with that one. I'm not as close to this area. Usually Olivia is the one that is the expert on how we're building this portion. So let me get the feedback on that, and then I will get it out to this group on the unique identifier item. So as follow-up, I've recorded the session for folks that are not able to make it today. We're gonna follow this up with an email that has the links for the testing documents plus the recording so that you can refer back to it on testing. And then any of these items that I get responses on, I'll include in that message but I'll try to get that message out to you today. So that's our follow-up. We ask that you use the next week to do the testing and that get your testing in by end of day on the 27th so that we can, when we meet again, we can start to gather the feedback and walk through it. If there's not anything else or any other questions, I'll let everybody go for today. Thanks, everybody.